guys, and welcome to another vlog. My name is Elsie, and today we are going to be continuing with our initial series that if you want to relocate to the US to study or to live as an immigrant, some of the things that you should know. So the first thing that I want us to be looking at, or the first on the series list, will be the reasons why you should not relocate to the US, or the reasons why you should not come to the US. Remember to like, share, comment, and definitely do subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So the number one reason why you should not relocate to the US is it is hard to settle down. It is very, very hard to settle down. If you were moving from your country, for example, I moved from Ghana to come here to school, and settling in, you're moving from a whole different background to a new background that has different culture. Job wise, it's different how they work, it's different how they interact. So adjusting is going to be pretty difficult. And even getting a job is probably going to be difficult because you're just moving in and you have no prior experience of working here. You have no experience of doing even petty jobs. So it's kind of difficult to settle in because most jobs require that you have some working experience from here. And so even if you're on the same scale in terms of education with somebody, you're going to pick the person that has more education over you, because that person, first of all, is on the same level with you. If you have a PhD, the person has a PhD. If you have a high GPA, the person has a high GPA. But then the person has what? Work experience in the United States, and you don't have. I do not know if it applies to other countries, other Western countries. You can find out if you're moving to that particular country, but this applies to just the United States, and so I cannot speak for other countries. So look out for that. It's quite difficult to settle in when you just move in from your country into the United States. Is pretty difficult. You have to understand everything about the US. Like sometimes it's very difficult. I remember saying several times, I want to go back home because I don't understand. Like when your hands are tied, your hands are tied. And when you know the system, you know the system, so you can work through it. But when your hands are tied, and it becomes very difficult to exist. The number two thing that I'm going to tell you when you move in here that should actually prevent you from not wanting to come here is housing or apartment. So you know how in your country you can pay an amount and live at a place for 2 years, and you can actually move out and tell the owner that, hey, I cannot stay here and I want to move out, or find somebody to replace you, or whatever it is that you want to do. Well, it's not like that here. Here, when you sign a lease, you have to like critically read it because it comes with so many clauses. You have to pay every month. If you have the money, you can pay like upfront for 6 months or 3 months, and then you live there. But then that's an extra cost to you because you don't know if you're going to stay where you are for a very long time, and the apartment may not refund the money back to you. So we pay monthly, and that's kind of expensive. Now, housing is even difficult to look for. So if you're coming in from your country, you do not have any credit record of credit, right? And America is based on credits. Like you build your credit from a certain level to a higher level, and then companies or organizations or apartments will want to give you or lease the apartment to you because your credit is worthy or you're credit worthy. Yeah, so it's kind of difficult that way. And then when you lock yourself into a lease, you kind of cannot break it. So for example, I have an apartment. I cannot break my lease or sublease. It's part of the rules. I cannot give my apartment to somebody because I have an emergency and I have to exit or I have to move to a different state. It's not done. I cannot sublease. It's per their rules. If I want to move, I need to give them 60-day notice. Whether I live in the building or I do not live in the building, I have to pay 60 days notice. That's 2 months rent before I leave. And when I leave and they still haven't found anybody to be here, I will keep on paying till they get somebody to be here. It's just a way for the apartment people to not let you go because they kind of let go of other people that apply for the same room or the same apartment as you, and they gave it to you and the other people went away. So it's a cost onto them that you're breaking your lease, and you're not going to be staying here. So living wise, apartment wise, it's difficult to even find one that will approve you because you do not have credit history, and then staying here and paying monthly already. First of all, remember that rule. The first thing that should deter you from coming is when you don't have any job experience here. So if you don't have any job experience here and you don't have any credit history, how are you going to be able to pay for your rent? How are you even going to get a job to be able to support paying for your rent? So that's tip number 2. And this, like I say, my reasons that I'm giving out why you should not relocate to the US, it's based on my own experience and has nothing to do with what people who have gone through. I have not spoken with anybody to know exactly what they've gone through, so I cannot speak for everybody. So this is just for me. If you like, you can take it. If you don't, this is not like an advice like, hey, don't come to the US because I'm here. No, I'm not going to give you fake information. This is just purely based on my own experience. Number 3. So the third reason why you should not move to the US. The US is based on credit. It's kind of like a credit-based system. So every human being that walks on the soil of US has like a unique identifier. So we all have like our social security numbers, and that number, you use it to apply for stuff. Like people apply for car loans, people apply for home loans, people apply for school loans, people apply for credit card loan. Like literally you apply for different things because of that number. And that number is what they use to identify you as a person that, hey, she can pay for it or she cannot pay for it. So if you kind of like go get yourself into trouble where a bank gives you money or a credit card gives you money and you do not pay back, that thing is going to ruin your credit score, and it's going to drop your credit score and keep dropping it, especially if they send you to collections. Now, collection is where, like, if you owe something, like you owe your apartment because you're not paying them rent, or you owe credit card bills and you're not paying, these organizations or people will take you to collections, and collections will pay them what you owe them, and they will now come after you. Now they'll come after you, they'll send you a first notice, and I don't know if they'll send you any other notices. I've not gone through that process, and hopefully I don't go through that process, but they're going to send you a couple of notices, and if you don't pay, they are going to keep hitting your credit score, and your credit score is going to go down. Now when your credit score goes down, it's going to be difficult in the future. If you don't build it or pay that debt, it's going to be very difficult for you to get loans. Like if you want to pay on a house, if you want a loan to buy a house, if you want a loan to buy a car, a brand new car and all that, it's going to be very difficult because the system is credit based and they work off your number, they work off your credit. So if you have a good credit, it's going to be easy to get access to all these other things. Like they are going to trust you because they know that even when you're using your credit card, you pay on time. If you get a loan, you pay them. So in your history in terms of housing and other things, you have not ruined them. So yeah, that credit is very essential. Like it's the number one thing that when you get to the US, people that love you will tell you, hey, what's your credit? And I'm so lucky, like when I came in, I had people that spoke to me about it and told me, hey, Elsie, make sure that your credit score is great or excellent or very good, so that when you grow further, or you grow further in whatever career that you want to do, and you want to like get a loan or buy a house or whatever it is, and you do not have the bulk cash, you can go to the banks and then they're going to give you the loan with very minimum interest rates. So if you have excellent credit score, your interest rate is going to be lower than somebody that has a low credit score. And I'll do a separate video. Let me know if you want me to do a separate video explaining just how the credit system works, and I can use myself as an example. What my credit score is, I'm obviously not going to tell you what my social security number is, but I'm going to tell you what my credit score is and some of the things that I did to build it up to where it is at its stage right now, what I did, and some of the things that I prevented. So that's it. Let me know if you want to know. So yeah, the system is credit it's a credit-based system, and so whatever you do will kind of like affect you. Even if you're a good person, one thing can just drop your score so low, and it's going to make everybody that may be able to give to you not want to give to you because you're scared that you cannot pay back. So the fourth reason why you should not come to the US or should not relocate to the US is the cost of living. Cost of living in different states differ. So right now I live in North Carolina. The cost of living is totally different from somebody that lives in California. The cost of living from somebody that lives in California will totally be different from somebody that lives in New York. I'm going to just give you an example. Now, because everything in the US, like everything comes at a cost. right? Staying at home comes at a cost. Like, for you to be able to live a certain kind of luxury, it comes at a cost. That's why people work their asses off. Sorry for that word. That's why people work their butt off to be able to pay for the things that they want. So you see people living a flashy life, they are working extra, or they are doing extra stuff to be able to afford the stuff that they want, or they're working extremely hard to be able to afford the kind of things that they want. Because everything in the US, you pay taxes on. You pay taxes on your house, you pay taxes when you go to the grocery store, you pay taxes on literally everything. You pay taxes on your salary, you pay taxes on your property. So if you have a car, every year you're paying taxes on your car. If you have a house, every year you're paying taxes on it. Even the salary they give you at the end of the month, they take like different types of taxes from there: federal tax, income tax, state taxes, all these things. They take it from there. It's probably going to be hard because like probably you earn like $4,000. By the time they take all the taxes, you're down to like $3,400. And then imagine you have kids or you have family. Now you have to pay for your rent. Some rents ranges from $400 to $3,000 for an apartment, and pay for nannies, pay for car, now pay for, you're paying for everything, insurance. It's a whole different ball game. So cost of living is something that you have to look out for, especially know where you're going to live. And if you know how much the cost of living is there, it's going to help you to be able to probably decide if you want to sell all your stuff that you have back at home to move here, and whether it's worth it or whether it's not worth it. So that's just it. Just know the cost of living of where you're going and whether it's worth it moving there, because you may end up regretting when you get there, or you may end up actually being happy because you are satisfied. And the cost of living for an African may probably be different from the cost of living from the American, because if you're somebody that always eats African food, you probably be spending more of your salary in buying African food, because those things are more expensive. Those food items are more expensive to buy, and you spend more. Now, the number 5 reason why you should not move to America is it's hard to be rich, right? It's hard to be rich. If you see somebody that's extremely rich, the people are either earning so much and they are investing, or they are doing other things that will bring money back. So it's money back for money, right? They put money into something and the thing brings back money, and then they're able to afford the luxurious life that they live. Nothing comes cheap. The regular person will just be living a normal life in an apartment, or even if they have a house, they have a loan they're paying for every month on their mortgage. So it's really hard to be rich. So if you're earning like $40,000 a year in the US and you were earning that back home, it's better to just obviously take $40,000 and stay back in Ghana or wherever you're from in the world, than to move here and say, okay, I want to spend the exact same $40,000 here. Because apart from all the things I've listed up before this, taxes, everything, by the time you're done, you realize that the cost of living here on that amount is probably not worth it. It's probably not worth it. So it's very difficult for people to be rich. You see people working 4 to 5 jobs, and if they don't know about investments, if they don't know about how to make their money work for them, they're probably going to live like all of us, like live the average life. Obviously, we plan to be rich, but then you're definitely going to be living the average life or the low life, or and it's just what it is. You just need to know the insides and outs of investing, and we're hoping that we'll all learn how to invest. Now, the number 6 reason why you should not move to the US: racism and violence. I mean, I know that back home there's nothing like racism, because that's where we are all from. We're Black people, we live in the same community. The only thing is we speak different languages. So just like there's that nepotism and favoritism, that's like on a tribal level. But here you're going to see that like they're real thing. I like to stay to myself, so I don't have friends that I'm saying I'm going to visit this person, I'm going to make friends here. But obviously when you watch the news, you know what's happening. That was a purely racist community. And even the town after that, when I used to go visit some couple that lived there, they were kind of like my mentors. That was like the worst ever. That's like the highest the city with the highest rate of racism in the United States. And sometimes you regret it because like people can speak to your face and let you know how they dislike you and all that. I have not physically experienced the racism on me, but I have had testimonials from people that have gone through it. Because for me, I will not give you the chance to disrespect me. Or like, I mean, if you're being racist, it's like somebody calling me a nigger. I'm not gonna be angry. I'm not a slave, okay? So that's their business. But then obviously you know from the news that high level of racism and also violence. Guns are legal in certain states, or if not all the states. The state that I lived in before here, guns were very legal. You can go, people just go to the stores and buy guns for hunting, for anything. You can just walk into a store and buy a gun and license it or not license it, whatever you want to do, and then they just commit whatever crimes that they want to do. But you know, God keeps us all. We are safe. We have not been shot. But then still, if you're somebody, you never know, and we pray that it never happens to any of us. But yeah, there's racism and of course violence. People would literally harm you for nothing that you've done. You can be shot. Like if you watch the news, so many things are happening. So you ask yourself, is it worth it coming to a country where you have to, like, you're struggling to be successful, to work, to gain money and all that, but is it worth it coming here? Is it worth it at all? Let me know some of the reasons why you want to relocate to the US. Obviously, there are good things, so I'll be talking about some of the good things, the good reasons why you should relocate to the US. But now, these are the reasons why you should not relocate to the US. Tip number 7, the reason why you should not move to the US. Insurance. Insurance, like literally, back in Ghana, you can drive, and if you want, you get insurance on your vehicle. If something happens, let's hope that the insurance companies are going to pay for it, health-wise and all that. But here, health is expensive. It's not like being in Canada where it's kind of free to have health care. Here in the US, it's very, I mean, some of the things that are expensive, healthcare, education, car, like, I mean, I cannot begin to count the different things that are expensive here, but healthcare and education, they're the most expensive things that I personally have encountered. So health insurance, coming in as an immigrant or somebody that's now moving into the US, you're probably having some level of healthcare in your country. It may not be the best, but you're getting something that you can pay for cheap. Here, even if you visit the hospital, you're being charged. If you don't have insurance, that's even the worst. But if you have insurance, insurance is going to cover some things because you're already paying your insurance, and then they'll now send you the bill after the insurance has paid for what they want to pay for. Insurance is expensive, and if you're an international student, you cannot say you do not have insurance. It's compulsory to buy insurance as an international student, and it's pretty expensive. I know that I have been paying close to $1,300 for every semester. So it means that every 6 months or every 5 months, I pay $1,300 and something just for insurance. And this is compulsory. I cannot do without it because you have to pay for it. Car insurance. You cannot be driving and not have insurance. I mean, even if you go that you're going to get your license, they will not give you. You need proof of insurance before you can get your license. So without the license, you cannot also be driving because you'll be stopped. For you to do your car registration, everything, you need insurance. And you cannot say, I'm going to just do this insurance and leave it and not, continue paying. That insurance is what's going to help you. And you probably would want to get liability insurance or full coverage liability. If you go knock somebody with your car, they're going to just take care of that person's car, and then you have to buy a whole new car. But if you take full coverage, they're going to pay for your car, buy you a new car, and they're going to buy the person a new car, fix whatever they need to fix, if not buy you a new one. So just know that insurance is important. If nothing is important, or if there's a word like importanter, insurance is important. You cannot live in the US without insurance. Obviously, people from here, based on different circumstances and all that, they can do that because they have other benefits. But if you're immigrants coming in, you need insurance. It's like the most important thing. You definitely get treated if you don't have it, but then the cost that will come to you after, you probably wish that you had that insurance that you're paying for, and then it'll be able to cover some things, and you pay the little, which is still more. the weather. Now, the weather can be harsh and the weather can be good, depending on where you find yourself. So if you know that you're not too good in a cold environment, you may probably be looking at places that are not too cold that you can live in. There are 50 states you can look and read or do your research on. Hey, where in the US can I stay that has good weather that will suit me? And then there are places that are extremely cold. So if you live in Midwest, then obviously you know that it's definitely going to get cold and you cannot stand it. So the weather is one thing that you should be looking at before you move to the US. You need to think about all these things when you're coming. It's pretty difficult. So when you speak with your family and people are saying it's hard, it's not that anybody is preventing you from moving to the US. It actually is what it is. The reality is what they're telling you. But obviously when you find yourself here, you can maneuver, and then you can maneuver your way through and find your path. So this brings me to the end of the video. Let me know if you're already in the US, some of your experiences that you faced. If any of these things that I said, any of the 7 things that I mentioned, if you've gone through it, if you have ever had issues with apartments, if you've ever had issues with your credit, if you've ever had issues with insurance, if you've ever had issues with anything, racism, violence, everything, just let me know and leave me a comment down there. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I need you guys to subscribe so that I can bring new content every day. I'm going to continue this series throughout, so you'll be hearing things about moving to America and not moving, some of my experiences and all that. So I'm going to catch you guys in another video. Bye.